Now they say old is gold, but that's not a cliche because we're literally talking about the golden age of cinema. That's Jubilee, and we have the creator Vikramaditya Motwane, we have Aparshakti Khurana, we have Nandish Singh Sandhu, and we have Sidhant Gupta. Hello and welcome.
And we have Shilpa in the house. Thank you so much, Shilpa, for having us over.
Thank you for having me. First, I want to talk about something that I love, but it is very personal to me, which is the grain in this. And according to me, it's like no pain, no grain, no gain. You know, and after Lutera, we come back to Vikramaditya Motwane's grain in Jubilee.
Interesting, you're the first person to actually mention that ever. The grain, yes. I love this. I love this era. I think it's a magnificent era. Not only were the movies amazing, I think the world was amazing. I do think making something when you're kind of like creating a new world is always a fascinating challenge, you know, for me. Yeah, and I was just excited to jump into this kind of world and create the grain, so to speak, digitally, of course, this time. But yeah.
And I asked you this: did you have to make this because people keep telling you? I mean, everything is okay, but nothing like Lutera. Nothing like Lutera. Are you hoping Jubilee is the next Lutera?
No, I'm hoping the Jubilee is the first Jubilee.
Okay, fine.
No, not like that. I think it was just it was one of those stories that it's like, you know, that Rolling Stone gathers moss. It was one of those things where it started off as a bit of a party joke, which eventually kind of became the story and saying, okay, to do a series set in India's golden age of movie making. I think that one-line idea just kind of like cascaded and became, you know, a little juggernaut of its own. And that's where it landed up. And it's been, you know, a period of time when we've created characters, and then that's become a screenplay, and that's then become an entire series. And there's been a lot of love, a lot of hard work, a great team that I've had who's, you know, supported this and made this.
Okay, these three men form part of your acceptance speech that you spoke about. The great team, universal themes in this: love, betrayal, and one that connects all of you is ambition, right? And three very eligible men, four eligible men, one single, as we found out today.
Thank you for highlighting
Yeah,
that.
Nandish is a single one.
Sandhu, banna chahta sabka bandhu.
But I've watched this and I love all your unique energies. Aparshakti, this is the most ambitious that you've been, the most menacing, the most evil, all the facets. So, of course, the question is actor or star?
यार in Hearts of Hearts, of course, only actor. लेकिन वो एक journey बहुत ज़्यादा मुश्किल और हर कोई कर नहीं पाता है वो journey. So it will be beautiful if I can be in the middle. Star आपके हाथ में नहीं होता, वो आपको आवाम बनाती है, आपका क्राफ्ट बनाता है, क्राफ्ट आपके हाथ में होता है, आवाम आपके हाथ में नहीं है. कौन किसको कितना प्यार देगा? हमारे देश में बहुत सारे अच्छे सिंगर हैं, लेकिन अरिजीत सिंह को ही क्यों इस समय पकड़ के बैठे हैं लोग? वो आवाम पकड़ती है आपको. तो स्टार आप खुद अपनी मर्जी से नहीं बन पाते हैं कभी भी. ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज अ ह्यूज एफर्ट व्हिच गोज इनटू योर क्राफ्ट, लेकिन स्टार तो हमेशा आवाम ही बनाएगी. सो दैट्स नॉट समथिंग व्हिच इज इन एन आर्टिस्ट्स हैंड. So, but yeah, कहीं बीच में अगर खेल पाऊंगा तो बहुत मजा आएगा.
You took it into your own hands. However, when it came to this one, you took matters into your own hands. Didn't work out so well for you. But you know, when we say it's a pivotal role, yours is actually a very pivotal role, right? Because of you, so many things come into motion. And also that audition scene. In every audition, you have to crack it. But you really had to crack your audition, right?
In real and real.
Exactly. There were a lot of layers to your audition.
So when I was doing my audition scene on camera in front of him, one of my processes of doing that was thinking about the audition that I gave for the show. So and you know, that was the kind of nervousness I had there, and I had to make sure that I don't have that kind of nervousness when I'm auditioning on the show, because he's got his own persona. He's a little arrogant because, you know, he knows he's good. So you know, Jamshed has his own attitude about how he functions, and you know, Joe, this is who I am. You either take it or leave it. He doesn't care about anything. But that's not how it was when I was auditioning for the show, because I really wanted to be a part of the show. So yeah, I had to leave and unlearn all of that and leave that behind and forget about all of that, that how I felt during that audition, I'm not supposed to feel that in this audition. In spite of that, I gave a lot of retakes. And he didn't.
It's like it's the most crucial scene in the
It
film.
really is because you have to feel that
And there's
you're
things
the
you're not
born
even
star.
sure. Like I don't even know right now whether we use the final take was take 3 or take 4, but we also shot 15 because pata nahi. Safety.
And that was my first day of shoot.
Yeah, first day of shoot.
Wow.
It was everybody's first day of shoot.
Oh,
So I
you
was-
had to be a star on the first day
On
of
the
shoot.
first day, and I was
actually the
put
first
there
day
in front
that
of
she shot.
everybody.
Oh.
And this was
Yeah.
the most important scene
Yeah,
for me
absolutely.
and the show.
मैं तो सेट पे ऐसे
So-
से चल गया
भाई मेरी पैंट्स के अंदर ऐसे ही हो रहा था. So every time I would look at him after, so the first 2-3 takes, I knew that I wanted to do it again because I couldn't feel it. But after 3-4 takes, I started feeling it a little bit, and I used to look at him. He was somewhere in the dark behind the camera, and I would look for him. But as Apar mentioned in some other interview as well, he was just looking down.
No, we don't
and-
want that. Other interview can't say.
नहीं बहुत फिर सर का रिएक्शन है आफ्टर
Okay.
वी यूज्ड टू गिव द शॉट
हाँ.
सर ना नीचे बैठ जाते थे
So he would
But
be,
is that good or bad?
यही तो स्ट्रेस था
Oh.
यही तो स्ट्रेस था हमें
so I would look at everybody else on the
Yeah.
set. So कोई तो बोल दे
Yeah. Is it good?
क्या कर रहा है भाई
Yeah.
तू
and everybody's just, nobody's looking, everybody's avoiding my gaze because they knew that they can't react
Yeah,
because he's not reacting.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking
I
at
know what
somebody,
you mean.
Karuna, she would look away. I'm looking at the DOP, he would go behind the camera. I'm looking at Ishika ma'am. Ishika ma'am is smiling. The moment I would look at her after the take, ma'am ही शायद बोल दे. She would turn around and go with the camera.
कहते मैं भी शायद ऐसे कर दे अरे
कोई तो बोल दो.
सिर्फ कैमरा देख रहा है मैंने ईश्वर से पूछ लिया मैंने कहा सर मतलब सर पसंद नहीं आ रही क्या मैं तेरे को
Yeah.
she was like why मैंने कहा सर हमेशा ऐसे बैठे होते हैं क्या मतलब नहीं she was like यार उनके दिमाग में हमेशा हमारा वर्ल्ड चल रहा है
I'm editing
So
in my head.
finally, I requested him, sir.
Yeah,
how-
at least do
you know,
thumbs up or
at
something,
the end
yeah.
of it, when many takes happened, I asked him, sir, how was it? He said, okay, तेरे को करना होगा तो फिर एक दिन और ये setup लगा के फिर कर लेंगे. And he ended on that. You remember?
wow.
So
But
I was,
that's me. I wasn't sure that point in time. Like literally, it's like it's the end of day 1.
so I was shitting in my pants. I was like, he
There's also
didn't
another
like
story
it.
which I don't
He's
know if
saying
I
हम
can
एक दिन
say.
और setup लगाएंगे तेरे लिए, एक और try मारेंगे.
Okay. For other factors.
For other factors that actually
वो तो सर
happened
ने
on the shoot that day. So.
Okay.
नहीं, I
Okay,
think
so
he
was
said it जिससे मैं पीछे ना पड़ जाऊँ कि एक और करो एक और.
No, also, it was the last thing we were shooting on the day, and like it typically happens, right? Like
Yeah.
you're at 8:45, and the shift ends at 9, and you don't know if you have enough time, and you're kind of pushing it. So literally, at the end of the first day, you're just like you're not sure at all whether you've got it or not. So it's like, okay, let's live with this. Let's go back and have a look at it and stuff. And then then you see it, and like, fine, it's there.
So, but I've taken their feedback as HR. I have to tell you, I'll be more encouraging to your actors. Bol do just like that. Say good job.
I wouldn't want Vikram Baji any other way in my
Good
life
job,
यही
good
correct
job.
beat है
You want him to send
Yeah,
some
बिल्कुल,
WhatsApp
absolutely.
messages. You want him to send
No,
you
no,
some
this-
nice
this-
No,
messages with
we
emojis.
want this beat. This
No?
beat.
Yeah?
No, this
I'll
beat.
show you a video
absolutely.
from AK versus AK set.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah. Oh, really?
We also want to see that video, guys. I'll also try to get you that video.
I would like to know a story when you were directing Anurag.
I'll show you.
That'll be interesting.
Some behind the scenes scoop. Now, Sidhant, like I said, I loved your look. I loved your earnestness. I loved your boyish charm. All of that. That was just fantastic. I loved everything you brought to this role. Tell me, Vikram, how did you find him for this role, and how did you find this series? Because it was, of the storylines, I felt yours was also like a very significant one that ran parallelly to the entire thing.
You mean how did it come to me?
Yeah.
Sure, through multiple auditions. But apart from that, I think it's interesting to think about. It literally came when I most needed it. There's a little backstory. I was supposed to be a part of some series which I had already invested in and which I was really looking forward to. But for some reason, I think it was put on hold. And I was heartbroken. And surprisingly, Vamika and I both were supposed to be a part of it.
Oh, wow.
And somehow just this came along and 2-3 auditions happened and I met him finally, and then I read the script and I was like, what? Ye kaise ho sakta hai? And it's the most beautiful thing that I'm reading. And it's the most incredibly written character that I'm reading. So I'm like, I don't know, I just got into it. I just literally went right and it's him directing. I didn't know about the setup, and it's amazing. So I know the script is amazing. I know this character is amazing. I know his work, which is amazing. And suddenly we start to shoot. I think 5-6-10 दिन हुए कुछ shoot को and whatever. And then उसके बाद suddenly the world starts to unfold, one set after the other, and there are like 3-4 big, huge sets. So it was like a surprise for all of us, I think. I remember लखनऊ में refugee camp से शुरू हुआ, उसके बाद studio का जो set बनाया था उस ज़माने का, और उसके बाद cut to old Bombay बनाया हुआ है पूरा का पूरा. It's like there are moving trams बनाई हुई हैं जो चल रही हैं, उस ज़माने के hotels बनाए हैं, cinemas बनाए हैं, पूरी दुनिया उस मैं उस दुनिया में, और मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि कुछ तो अच्छा किया होगा मैंने लाइफ में जो मैं यहाँ पे हूँ, literally. So literally like a child playing in this playground, which is his vision.
कौन सा
The
series था जिससे
filmmakers.
सर बात नहीं कर सकते, Netflix का है.
बात करते थे. Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah,
You know, I think even I know this series. This is a classy series. I'm not sure.
knows
Okay,
everything,
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out.
So him again, he auditioned. I mean, so it was an auditioning process. And again, credit to Anmol and the team from Casting Bay. So Jazz actually they were all tricky to cast, I think, but Jazz was the one, because again, like the character is so, you're not like, Madan's arc is a very on the paper it's a very delicious arc, you know, but Jay actually
It kind
is so
of
dependent.
meanders here and there.
But it's
and
still,
yeah.
it's a very like on paper, so you're like, okay, an actor, once you know he's going to play this, then it's like, it'll fall into place. Jay's arc was more, it was a little more actor dependent in the sense that there's going to be layers once the actor gets cast as to how certain things will end up, you know, getting performed and stuff like that. So that was a very tricky, or you know, like role to cast. Like I was also very unsure. Like I saw his audition, I think like
he needed to bring something of himself to that role
absolutely.
for it to work.
Saw it 2-3 times, went back, saw it again, went back. So there was a lot of.
Yeah, now that you say it, I get that. As actors as well, you're very excited to do acting that harks back to that time. But as a director, how do you rein them in and give them just that right sort of direction, if you know what I mean?
I think it's differentiating what's on the screen in the series versus what's just a scene in the series. I think there's a little bit difference. Like if you're playing if you're playing a character that's in a movie, then obviously the acting will have to be a certain sort of way, the lifestyle will be a certain sort of way. But when you're in the normal way, people haven't changed them other than their style, other than just the words you use and the lehza of speaking. Nothing much has changed as far as personality. We're still the same people. We're still the same personalities. So I think it was just finding that balance of language and saying, okay, this is how we're going to just about, you know, let's work the character within this range. And just make sure that we're not getting into slang language. But I don't want to make it stilted. I don't want to make it feel like we're telling them, yaar, nahi, ye thoda period aur karo. I think it was more, Apar was more like, yaar, Punjabi thoda kam kar do.
Why? Why did you say that?
No, I mean,
Because he's playing a Bengali character, so like the problem is that there's a tendency to speak. So it's more about that. It's more about just be conscious of the fact that be normal, speak absolutely normally. Don't use modern slang and try and not. So it's more
But
about.
even the slang was not very Urdu, like.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was very conscious. That was like, we don't want to get into a space where you're suddenly making it seem like you're sitting in a period drama.
Yeah,
Like, be absolutely normal.
बस
Talk
साफ
normal.
सुथरी हिंदी बोल.
हाँ, बस उतना ही है.
But as actors, did you have fun with this? Did the flamboyance of it? Or perhaps trying out something new?
Of course, yeah, Shilpa. I think ये तो बहुत कम दफा होता है किसी एक्टर के पूरे career span में. And we all three of us sitting here, we've just started. You know, तो अगर आपके acting career के शुरुआत में आपको ये world मिल जाए, I think you have to be really blessed to be a part of this world, and especially if it's an A-lister director, an A-lister platform. तो सारे boxes.
Who's the A-lister director?
You don't know.
The only A-lister director.
Only A-lister director. Oh, only.
Yeah.
How sweet. What about you, Nandish? What did you most enjoy about going back in time?
Everything about it. I think the most enjoyable part was the the entire energy that we were carrying on the set, the way everything was functioning there. Not only the actors, because everybody had to function to make sure that the entire environment on the set is from that era. So there was, you know, like you mentioned just now, the trams moving around, the horses, the carts moving around, the old cars, cycles. You know, it was an entire world which was there, and that is something which is going to stay with me all my life. I don't know whether, you know, I'll get a chance to do something like this in my life again or no, but this feeling that I would carry with me, you know, it's difficult to put it in words as to how I felt when I was on that set. We've all seen movies from the past, but to be a part of it on the set in the midst of that energy is an altogether different feeling. So yeah, that feeling is going to be with me all my life.
Yeah, it made me nostalgic, as I was saying earlier, for a time that I wish I was a part of. You know, I wasn't even born then, but it made me nostalgic for that time. And Sidhant, what did you most enjoy about this?
The freedom.
Yeah?
Yeah, the freedom.
Freedom though it was there na, after the partition
No,
we
no, no,
found
not
it.
that. वो
So,
Chennai,
and
Chennai
independence you
Chennai
like.
वाला नहीं, CNN वाला. Freedom in terms of when you are a part of a series that is so massive, when you are playing a character which is very integral in a way. I think there's a lot of pressure. So I think when the director trusts you, that's when you feel free to just sort of fly with it. So and Jaikanna is like a child, you know, so he's like, he'll never stop playing. And the thing is, he doesn't say anything on the set. He doesn't talk a lot. But the thing is, there's still a sort of an assurance that you feel through him. It's from a distance and it's a wordless exchange. But it's like, for me, he was the anchor. You know, you need an anchor to just fly. You know where to just go and where to come back. So he was that.
He's your constant.
Yeah, in many ways. I don't think I've said this before, but
Yeah,
I mean,
what
it's
a beautiful
it's
thing
my
to
own
say.
feeling. Yeah,
Has anyone said something so lovely
yeah,
about
किसी ने
you?
बोला इतने
प्यार बहुत करते हैं सर को लोग, आपको आइडिया नहीं है.
Oh, okay.
ना मेरी
okay.
बेटी ने बोला ना मेरी बेटी ने क्या है?
Oh God.
He's going to make you cry. He's going to make you
She
cry.
basically called me on Hotstar.
You know,
something like that.
I have a couple of questions for you. Now, I've asked Aditi and Ram as well, but they loved it so much that I'm going to ask you guys also the same questions.
Okay.
Now, this is about the golden age in Indian cinema, Hindi
shit.
cinema.
Yeah.
उन्हीं से
There was-
पूछ लो.
There's this movie called Alam Ara, right?
Ji,
It's
ji,
a
yeah.
seminal
Ji.
film. And Master Vittal was supposed to be a part of it, and he was part of Shraddha Studios. He had a contract with them, but they wanted him to be a part of Alam Ara. So the makers wanted... So Shraddha Studios said, you can't go, and they sued Master Vittal. A Bombay-based lawyer argued for Master Vittal and said, no, you know, this movie needs to be made. And he appealed to the courts and told them about the artistic importance. Who is this Bombay-based lawyer responsible for Alam Ara being made?
Bombay-based lawyer.
I think you know. Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
I
Yeah.
was just going to say.
It was Jinnah. Okay, now this is about very popular singer. Now this singer and this sports person, they both have this same first name. Okay, when visiting Chicago once on tour, this singer, who is very keen on sports, especially boxing and cricket, requested the organizers of the tour to try and get him an appointment to meet a sports person who usually doesn't meet
I know
people.
this.
Oh, who?
This is Muhammad Ali and
Muhammad
Rafi.
Ali and Muhammad Rafi.
Yes, indeed. Okay, you got that one. Sidhant, did you know that? What? What?
No.
मैं इतनी भी खूबसूरत नहीं हूँ.
नहीं, वो तो शिल्पा आप काफी हो.
ये कैसी बात है? आपने कैसे
ऐसी
decide
कौन सी
कर लिया?
निगाहों से देखा तुमने ऐसा जो ये बोल बैठी है? Wow.
No, just joking. मैं हूँ. Now, this very popular music director was ruling the roost in the 1940s, but his parents told the prospective bride's parents that he's actually a tailor. Because they said, you know, they're not going to give their daughter to anyone in the movies. And through the wedding also, he pretended to be a tailor, but the Bharat was playing his songs, which were from the movie Ratan. Who is this music director?
Majnu Sultanpuri.
No, this is Naushad sir.
Yeah, this was Naushad
Naushad
sir.
Sir, how do you know so much?
He knows a lot. It's almost like he made
There is a reason why
series
create
about
किया
this. Yeah.
25 साल का जो history है, मतलब stories, it's a great story though.
Isn't that a good one?
Wow.
Now I
This was
told
a
you
very
what
good
I
research.
learned.
All three of them are very good research. Good one.
Weren't they good ones? I actually found like a lot of those. I went
Kudos
down
to
that
you.
rabbit hole, as you said. Now I told you what I learned. What did you learn from this?
From your stories?
No, not only stories. Like, did you uncover any interesting trivia that you want to share with us?
You'll have to kind of see the series for that, but a lot of the stuff that we put in the research, which is in the stories, like so things we knew, for example, was the fact that this is before the research, but the fact that songs were banned on AIR, and that one had to go through Radio Ceylon, and then there was Binaka Geetmala, which then sort of like became Sibaka Geetmala, which then came back into AIR at some point in time. So that's a true story.
Yeah.
We've incorporated it into the series in a certain sort of way. But these little things that research sort of like told us, especially about how during the Cold War, the kind of influences that both the Russians and the Americans tried to do on cinema, these are things that we learned. So there's a lot that's actually, so whatever we've learned is actually in the series.
Okay, so now I gave you some more trivia, so you'll make
हाँ,
a
second season में use करते हैं हम. ये
हाँ,
बिल्कुल
you'll
करते हैं
use it,
second
right?
season. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
शिल्पा को सर
perfect.
credit देना है हमने सर.
You have to.
आप ज़्यादा पैसे तो नहीं charge करोगे इसके लिए?
बहुत. We'll discuss that, but I loved looking back on this beautiful time with all of you. Thank you so much. And now I'm looking forward to part 2 because it's releasing in 2 parts, right?
Yeah.
Long interval. We'll wait for that. Thank
1
you.
week
Thank you
interval
so
only.
much. Thank you so much, Shilpa.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Shilpa.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you,
Thank you so
guys.
much. Thank you.